My name is Valerie Raoul, a recently retired professor from the University of British Columbia. I was in the Women's Studies program there. I heard a lot about the problems of healthcare workers and nannies, etc. here in Canada. But when I went to the Philippines as part of the International Observers Mission for the elections, I found out a lot about the problems of a particular group of health workers in the Philippines who are known as the Morong 43. We actually had the opportunity while we were there last May to visit these people in the jail outside of Manila. This goes back to February of 2010. A very well-respected Dr. Montez, who has done a lot of work in public health in the Philippines for people who are living in poverty and have very little access to health services, had organized a training session on a farm, and they had quite a large group of very young people there who were hoping to get some training to become public health workers. And a group of military arrived with supposedly a search warrant. It wasn't a legal document, but everybody in the building was asked to leave. The military went in and searched the premises and came out saying that they had found explosives and firearms. The men and the women were separated. 2/3 of them are women, and as I said, most of them are very young. Some of the women were very badly treated. They were humiliated and sexually harassed. The conditions that they're living are very harsh. Confessions were obtained under severe duress and threats to people's family. And we were there at the time of the elections, and there was a great deal of hope at that time that the new president, Aquino, would do something about their situation and hopefully release them immediately, because he himself had said, and is recorded as having said, that they were arrested illegally and that there isn't a case against them, really. We were from many countries, and since then there's been a real groundswell of international support. Last week there was a one-page ad in the Philippine Daily Inquirer which has several hundred signatures on it from people from all over the world, from every continent, I think. And it includes people from all sorts of walks of life, church people, including bishops and pastors from many denominations. There is a very strong human group in Vancouver and also in Ottawa and in Montreal that are working for human rights issues in the Philippines. Right, we have just recently formed a committee in Vancouver called the Free the 43 Vancouver Committee. There's a lot of lawyers internationally who are bringing this case to the United Nations. It's also being taken up by other groups like Amnesty International. There are people who come on the Living Caregiver program, or nurses who come here and have difficulty getting their qualifications acknowledged. And it seems almost scandalous that we are absorbing here all these very well qualified people from the Philippines when there is such a shortage of healthcare workers within the Philippines that people are not able to access the healthcare services that they need. And then these people who are willing to train and even be volunteers are not being allowed to do that. And that was what they were telling us so strongly, was that they want to be out of that prison so that they can be helping people. We are so fortunate to live in a country like Canada where we can express our political views freely. In a country like the Philippines, any criticism of the government or anything that's perceived as leftist leaves you in a very, very vulnerable position. And we know people who have had family members murdered, assassinated, journalists have been killed, lawyers have been killed. And I just have to say we have enormous admiration for the activists in the Philippines who are willing to risk their lives to try and work towards greater human rights there. And that this case has been kind of sort of a pilot project for people internationally to support them. We're going to have a vigil outside the Philippine Consulate, holding that on December the 2nd, Thursday, at around 4 o'clock.
Workers!